The ARx AI is the updated version of the ARx Vision, and it's a wearable device that's bone conduction headphones and has a camera attached on this side. You can use it for things like text recognition and scene descriptions and even talk to an AI, and it can integrate with Seeing AI. It's a really interesting product, and I had an interview with the CEO to talk more about it. Welcome to Carrie on Accessibility and another episode of the ALI Podcast. If you're interested in this type of content, make sure you subscribe, and you can also listen to this podcast on all of the Amazon Echo devices. You can also listen on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and I guess you could also listen on YouTube Music. A big thank you to Sierra Costa for becoming a new Koa Insider Patreon member. If you want to support the work I do while getting exclusive content and having monthly meetups and other perks, consider becoming a YouTube channel or Patreon member. Without further ado, let's roll the interview and I will meet you with my thoughts on the other side. Hello and welcome to the ALI Podcast, Charles. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, Carrie. It's good to be with you again. So my name is Charles Leclercq. I am the CEO of ARx Vision. We are the startup that has developed the ARx AI headset that makes the world more accessible. It is a bone conduction headset with cameras that connects to smartphones, and what you can do with it is that you can use apps that use computer vision and generative AI while keeping your phone safely tucked away in your pocket.
Could you give our listeners a brief description of what it looks like or how it feels?
The ARx AI is shaped like an arc, and it has two rubber pads that sit in front of your ears. On the right side, there's a camera module with three tactile buttons. They are raised push buttons with distinctive shapes, square, circle, and triangle. And the arc goes behind your head, so the headset is not face covering. There's a wire that enables you to connect your headset to your smartphone via a USB-C port. And you just plug it in, wear the headset, and you can directly use AI with computer vision.
Is this available on iOS and Android?
It is currently only available on Android, and we're working on the iOS version.
Now that iOS is finally using USB-C, hopefully that'll be a little bit easier.
Exactly. We're actually we have ARx working internally on iPadOS, so we just
nice.
use it with the iPad Mini right now, and it just works really well. So it's promising.
That sounds great. I know you just released an updated version of the ARx. Could you talk about what the updates are and how is it different from the previous model?
Absolutely. So we first launched the ARx AI V1.0 in 2021. That was a very early stage version, but we wanted to get feedback from the community very early on. So I think this was kind of a beta launch at the time. And we learned a couple of things that needed to be improved. So, for example, the first version was getting warm. So we have eliminated that issue with the 1.5. There's no heat anymore. It also comes with a fabric sleeve that goes around the camera module. So it feels much nicer against your skin. And obviously, one of the biggest upgrades is that there is a Sony IMX179 sensor and an autofocus camera lens that goes up to a 4K resolution at 25 frames per second. So that allows us to actually really go above and beyond in terms of OCR and getting details. And finally, we've improved the audio volume, so the headset is louder, and it is truly compatible with any Android device equipped with a USB-C port. And we usually recommend smartphones that are based on a Qualcomm architecture. So that's, in a nutshell, the hardware updates. The product, I actually have a box here with me. The product comes in a very nice premium packaging, and there's a whole unboxing experience with it, with a lot of tactile stuff. And when you open it, you find a number of tutorial cards that have Braille on them. And then there's a travel case that's been designed specifically for the ARx AI. So people can just keep the ARx AI headset into the travel box, and it stays safely tucked away in their bag, or if they want to, so they can access it whenever they need. Here we go. I'm showing it here. So that's all the hardware updates. And then in terms of software, a lot of things have changed. We've completely revamped the app, so it's a lot more stable. I think in general, the headset also consumes a lot less energy on the smartphone. So you can use it for up to 8 hours on one charge of the smartphone. And we've obviously integrated a very high-end tutorial with activities. So you get to scan the tutorial cards with Braille and to actually interact through real-life examples of how to use the device. So there's, in that sense, no need for a trainer, and people can just get on and learn how to use ARx out of the box. And then we still have the document mode, which is actually now extremely fast because it's all on device. So you literally place a document in front of the camera, and in 3 seconds, you'll get the OCR. And if you want to ask questions about a document or about a scene, you can use the Q mode. And it's really satisfying because the Q mode allows you to capture something, bring it into what we call the sphere. And once you're in the sphere, you can fully interact with the data you've scanned. So you can ask questions, just like you would expect with any kind of language model-based AI assistant.
Out of curiosity, what model are you using?
Initially, we were using OpenAI models, and we actually were not using multimodal models. We were using our own secret sauce that was turning images into data that was consumed by early stage models, but that was like 2 years ago. And now we're using Gemini Pro models.
So it's interesting to see what models people are using because they act pretty differently. Now, just for our listeners, the headset is using bone conduction, right? That way they can still be aware of the environment around them.
That's absolutely correct. So the idea is that with bone conduction, the audio is an augmented audio layer in your life. So it doesn't obstruct like a pair of headphones would do. So you can be part of a conversation and still benefit from the AI augmentation, and still be able to hear voices and fully interact with your environment, which has benefits socially, but also in terms of safety aspects.
I know there was a press release talking about some integrations that you guys have been working on, namely Seeing AI. Could you talk about that and all the different other ones?
Absolutely. So we've always thought about ARx in terms of how can we benefit the community even more. And so we know that a lot of people use a number of apps already, because our philosophy is to think about things from a contribution standpoint. We don't see much value in repeating what already exists if it's good enough. And the Microsoft Seeing AI app is wonderful. And we have partnered with Seeing AI to make Seeing AI compatible with the ARx AI headset. So when you purchase the ARx AI v1.5, you can register to use the pilot version of Seeing AI, and you will receive a link with the download. And when you install the app, you just plug in your headset, launch the app, and you're ready to go. And you can use Microsoft Seeing AI completely hands-free.
Nice. And you would, as long as you have the app open, you don't need to interact with the app?
That's correct. So what's even better about this is that you have the app open, and then you can lock your phone, and you can minimize the app. You can even use other apps at the same time.
Oh.
But basically, as the way people use it is that they lock the phone, put it in their pocket, and then you can use the three buttons on the headset to control the app. So exactly, you don't need to use the touchscreen anymore.
And now, are there other integrations that you guys have collaborated with?
Absolutely, yes. We've worked with the Navilance team. So the Navilance codes are rich connected QR codes that are present on products like Kellogg's or Coca-Cola. Um, in total, I think they're used on about 1 billion plus products. So it's a lot of products. And these codes are also present in transportation networks globally.
Mhm.
So you have them in the subway in New York, in the London Underground, uh, and I think they even have them in Tokyo. And what happens is that when you scan an evidence code, you get distance information as well as directions. And if you click the circle button on the headset, you unlock tons of connected data. So, for example, if you're at a train station and the headset detects an evidence code, it will tell you you're on platform 1 and the next train on this platform is in 3 minutes and is going to this location. And I really love this use case because it is delivering so much information uh, completely effortlessly. You just look around, and if your headset picks up a code, you get the information. That's really amazing.
Navilens, I've heard of them for a while now, and I'm actually hoping to do an interview with them that we're just sorting out the dates. But it's definitely interesting to see all these different apps working together on the ARC. What sets the ARx AI apart from the rest of the competition, like Orcam or Envision? What makes it special?
That's a very good question. I think I want to speak from my perspective, but also the perspective of our customers. Um, the first one is technical because the ARX is connected to a smartphone with a cable. We have 400 times more data than if we use Bluetooth. So we have high resolution images very fast. And that gives us a lot of opportunities to actually capture and describe the world. So the ARX enables a computer to fully understand the user in real time. It's not just capturing an image and getting a description. It's actually getting real-time description about a position of a document in front of the camera or about an object in a scene in real time. Second technical aspect is that the ARx AI is designed to be an accessory to a smartphone. And because generative AI moves so fast, it's really hard to predict what will happen next year. And so we are utilizing, the ARx AI utilizes the smartphone ecosystem and GPU and CPU power. And so if you buy the ARx AI 1.5, you're sure that it's not going to become obsolete when the next generation of AI gets released. It's still going to be able to run the latest model as long as you have the phone that can do it. And yeah, so that's the other aspect obviously is the price point. Um, our cam costs about $4,000. The Envision glasses cost I think $2,000. The ARx AI is available for $599. And that's because we want to empower those who need it the most, and we want the whole world to adopt the ARx AI. So we're thinking obviously about the community in the West world, in the East world, but also in developing countries. So, people, children with vision loss in Africa now have actually an option to get this type of devices.
So does that mean you ship anywhere in the world?
So we've done a soft launch at the moment, and we've only launched in the US and the UK. But stay tuned because in June we are going to do a global launch. And so ARx is going to be available in many more places, and there will be more features available in the app. So it's going to be a very exciting time. I would say that one of the aspects that sets the ARx AI apart is that it is really designed with the user in mind. It is designed specifically for the blind and low vision community. And these details translate into having a very easy to use interface, very easy to use onboarding experience. So we've thought about the whole experience from the onboarding to using it every day and on the go. That also translates into small details of the user experience. Like you don't have to charge this device. You don't have to think about it. It just connects and works.
Hmm. Now I want to go back to the price. So $5.99 is definitely a far cry and much better. I want to ask you, why do you think assistive technology is so expensive? What are the factors that make it so?
I think there is this core belief that it's a small market, but actually we've worked with the Howie Innovation Center at Perkins School for the Blind, and we found that, they found that disability was the biggest minority. So it's a huge market. And when you see this, you see the potential for it. And I think traditionally it's been very niche, and that results in very high price. Second reason, I think, is that until now, AI was not really delivering so much value, but today it is, and that has enabled us to design the product that's incredibly easy to use. So because it's easy to use, we don't need to send a trainer to make a sale, and that's how we save and are able to offer a device at a much more affordable price. So we see scale. We think a lot of people are going to adopt this product, and because it's easy to use, it's much easier to get it into people's hands.
Okay. That's interesting. I know the biggest argument or reason people come up with as why AT is so expensive is because of supply and demand. And so I think anytime I sit down with somebody, I want to ask them this question. So that's a really interesting answer. Now I want to go back to ARx, and how did it begin? How did it start? Why do you do what you do?
I just want to add on your point about price that at ARx is that, as I said, a lot of people will want to adopt the product. And what we're seeing is that because it's an appealing product with exciting features, we are seeing a lot of people who actually don't identify as blind who are considering purchasing the product because they just need a little help in how they see the world. And so that actually widens the market. And now to answer your question, how did I get involved? In 2019, I think, I was leading the augmented reality team at the BBC Future Experience Technology team in London. And we were, one of the projects that we developed was a music festival in augmented reality because of COVID. And the experience enabled people to go in their house, apartment, park, garden, and take their phone and place the music stages in specific locations. And then they tapped a button to start the festival, and the music would start. And as you would walk around and look through your phone, you'd see holograms of music stages, and you'd hear the music becoming louder or fading away. And what was really interesting about this experience was not really looking through your screen at the world. It was about the audio augmentation layer. And so I started to think about who is going to need spatial audio the most, and how can we do it without having to handle a smartphone. Then I started looking at wearables, and it became obvious. The design became obvious.
So what's the development process like, and how does user feedback influence your development?
That's a very good question. And So the first thing I did when I started ARx was to first understand the customer pain point. I talked to a lot of people in the community and I wrote down the user stories. And then I started seeing what were the patterns, things that come again and again as challenges. And then I started we started building prototypes, and we put those quick and dirty prototypes into people's hands. And that's when things become really challenging, but that's how we actually learn about all the aspects that make a product. So, how did our first users were onboarded during COVID. So we actually sent them a kit in a cardboard box, and they had to set it up themselves. And the product just at the time was what it was. It was just the beginning. But we learned that we had to make a really excellent onboarding, teach all the aspects of the device to the users. And we started creating relationships with the community, and we just iterated on understanding what were the pain points, but also how do we improve the product. In fact, we also created the ARx Academy, which was a portal where people could share and upvote features that they wanted to see. And so it's really for us at the core to be connected with the community and understand what people want, what people need, and what can be improved.
So, what do you see as the future of ARx?
Today, we are looking at what we've achieved, and we've actually ported mobile experiences to a wearable. And so we're getting the feedback that it's very useful for a number of things. It makes life easier. But mobile use cases are mobile use cases, which means that, it's, for example, the document scanner. If your job is not scanning documents all day long, you're not going to use a document scanner all day long. And so now we're looking at what are the actual features, product features and use cases that are going to help people all day long. And so we're now thinking about new experiences around mobility, but also we've basically built an interface that allows the computer to learn so much more about its user. And so that gives us an opportunity to really tailor and customize the experience to every single individual. And so we're really looking into how can the computer learn from a user, from the routine of a user, and how can the computer become better at understanding the context and therefore delivering data in a way that is meaningful and useful at a particular time for a particular user. That's the future of ARx.
And what about assistive technology in general? What do you see for its future? What are you excited about? And what do you think it'll be like in 10, 20, 30 years?
I think in general, historically, assistive technology, the best accessibility technologies have benefited the whole world. So I'm thinking about the touchscreen, I'm thinking about text-to-speech. Now these are technologies that were developed for disabilities and that are present everywhere, and they are just amazing to use. And what we're starting to see today with generative AI and computer vision evolution is that these accessible solutions are actually going to benefit everyone. And I think accessibility now has the opportunity to be something that's cool and desirable. It's not just about reading a newspaper. It's not just about reading the instructions on a medicine box. It's about being able to go out and have no limit regardless of your abilities. It's about being able to access art, being able to access the visual world in whichever way you desire. And I think it's going to actually be helpful to the whole world.
Here's hoping. Now, thank you so much for joining me for this episode. I really appreciate it. Is there anything that you'd like to share with the audience?
Yeah, I think we are really excited about the response we've had when we did our soft launch at CSUN, and we're really looking for feedback. So I would invite people to share and talk about ARx in their community, and let us know what you think. We're excited to connect with individuals who have a story to share and ideas to share. So yes, please get in touch.
Awesome. Well, thank you once again. And all the links will be in the description if you're interested in learning more. Thanks so much, Charles.
Thank you, Carrie.
There you have it. There was the interview. First of all, $5.99. I think that honestly that is a fair price. Now, $7.99 is the main price, and that's the price of a smartphone. And I did see on their website there's some monthly options as well, which is always nice to have, especially with assistive technology. I really like the fact that you can use Seeing AI with this, and that it's still using the app and everything that can do, but you're using it hands-free. Now, the part that kind of gets to me is the wire. I understand that you've got to have the wire so you can have more data and so that it can be faster. I get that. I understand that. But still, it bothers me. But still, a wire, I don't know if I particularly like wires. At least one end can be in my pocket, and that's where my phone is always. At least it's not like a wire to a battery like on the Apple Vision Pro, where I have to have a battery and my phone in another pocket and the headset. At least it's my phone in my pocket. Something that I'm not clear about and I forgot to ask is how, if you have it connected and it's bone conduction headphones and you're using the device, the ARx, how does TalkBack respond? Like, does it go through the phone or does it go to the headphones? I would assume that it goes to the headphones, maybe, but I'm not really sure. So that would be something that would be really interesting to find out. I honestly can't make up my mind about how I feel about subscription services versus like a one-time payment like this. I kind of like the one-time payment, especially if it's around this price point, $5.99, $7.99, though the $7.99 is kind of getting up there. But a subscription kind of gives you that idea that it can continue on and update. So let's just take the Celeste glasses as an example. You know, I will get new hardware and updates if I continue paying. What about the ARx? If they create a new product, will I have to buy the new thing? It is a 4K camera. I think that's pretty cool. A lot of assistive technology that uses cameras do not have a 4K camera, so kudos to them for that. I would actually really love to try this out and see how it feels. A lot of bone conduction headphones actually don't work because I don't know, something's wrong with my head and it kind of hurts my head. Hopefully I can get this in and test this out. What are your thoughts? What do you guys think about the wire versus the data and it being a headphones headset kind of form factor as opposed to like glasses or some other form factor? Let me know in the comments, and if you have any questions or things you want me to try out if and when I get the device, or if you want me to email Charles, let me know. What would your ideal wearable assistive technology device be? Well, that's it for this episode. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up below. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you found this valuable and you want to support my channel and what I do here, consider becoming a Patreon or YouTube channel member. Thanks so much, everybody, and I will catch you in the next video.